And that Etsy shop, I was sewing cloth diapers and I was doing glow-in-the-dark paint on the butts, and I was making binky folders, things that I personally
is exactly
needed.
what Nick does on the weekend, too. So, I was wondering why you wanted all those diapers that I sent over to him. But
Right, yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, I'm getting older. I need to start thinking about diapers again. Yeah.
Welcome to the Two Authors Podcast, an entertaining chat show hosted by best-selling mystery and thriller authors Douglas Pratt and Nicholas Harvey, in lively, humorous and informative conversation with distinguished guests who share their thoughts and experience about forging a successful author career.
Welcome to this week's show, brought to you as always by Vellum, the absolute best, most wonderful formatting solution in the whole wide world. What you think?
Happy New Year, Douglas.
It is. Happy New Year. This is the first Monday of the new year, so we've already been
2026.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fantastic. Nothing can tell me different on the first Monday of the new year.
I've got you
Great
over on the right side of the world again, so that's
I
kind of
am
nice.
on the top half and the right side of the world, depending on where you draw the line for the roundy round part. But
as far as
Happy
my
New
time
Year.
zone, you're only off by one now, so that's kind of nice.
I am home in Cayman, which sounds lovely to my ears to say that we're finally home here. Yep. Hey, Vellum, you mentioned Vellum. So I know we've talked about this feature before, which is the reuse feature.
That's my favorite feature of that thing.
Oh my God, what a time saver, man. Yeah. I just went through and updated all my AJ Bailey. So I've got, 17 out there, I think, and 18, the 18th one's on pre-order, something like that. So I just went through and updated all the back matter. So I updated it in 12 Mile Bank, book 1. And then for the 16 other books, I just reused that.
I know.
It's
so nice. Yeah.
2 clicks, done.
Bam.
And
Easy.
they all match. Links, everything.
I had forgotten to take out a link when I did, because I do my pre-orders wide the same way. And I had forgotten to take out when you go to Apple, they don't like it when they have Amazon links in the back. So I had to go back and change like several of them. And the same thing, go in there, reuse. Once I changed one of them, just take it across the board. It was so easy.
Such a neat feature.
Of cake, though. Also, big thank you to our Patreon subscribers. We have a new one this week who just popped in, Miss Karen Cantwell.
Hi, Karen. Right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Karen. So if you guys feel like you're getting some value from our jabbering that we do here, then we would love and appreciate, if you'd pop over to patreon.com/the Two Authors Podcast and just give us a little follow. At the very least, follow our free tier. But we'd also, for a couple of dollars, few dollars, I think it's $3 a month, you can get all sorts of bonus questions. And we've got some great ones that you're only going to get by being on there's a lot of stuff on there. So
our guests stick around and do these bonus questions with us every time, and they're all in for our paid Patreon. It's not a scary place, people. Patreon.com. It's a safe space. It's a safe space.
We're going to chat a little bit today about Patreon with our guest today, she's going to blow you away. She's got so much going on. Miss Willow Winters, she's best-selling romance author, but she is known for her dark, emotional love stories, but she has a fiercely loyal reader base, and she has really learned how to market her IP. And so she's written and published, we said over 400 according to Amazon, but I'm sure that's over 100, because she's probably got all her translations and everything built in there. But that's still, she's building not just a catalog, but she's got a frickin' empire and a real reader experience going. She does special editions, subscription boxes, basically her own publishing brand. So we're very excited to chat with her. But before we get started, we're going to have a listener question from best-selling thriller author and our recent guest of ours, Miss Mary Stone.
Mary Stone, thank you so much for sticking around and asking us a listener question, as we call it. What do you got? Lay it on us.
Okay. What's a moment in your writing or your career when you were convinced you had ruined everything, but it ended up being the turning point?
Between 1/3 and 2/3 of the way into every book I write.
Okay.
I'm like, this is shit. It's boring. I don't know. I screwed it up. No one's going to like it. And then I kind of plow on through.
I think it's 2/3 for me, but yes, I think that's everybody. But I would say mine was, I had quit I was working a job prior that I had to quit. I was having stressed out. My blood pressure was through the roof. I was just done. And my wife actually was like, you know what? Why don't you just quit? She was working and we had some money saved. She goes, quit, try to make it, you're already writing, you're already publishing, try to make it a full-time career. And so I did. And that was I picked 2020, January of 2020, not March of 2020. If I had waited a couple of months, I was like, I could have been paid while I was doing this, but I didn't. But so, and 2020 was great, but I was just kind of really starting. I only had 5 books at that point. And so when I dove into it at 2020, I didn't have the books ready for everybody to read, but I did get a lot of writing done. But by 2021, it was, I guess, toward the end of 2021, I had written 2 of my Chase Gordon series, which are tropical thrillers. And I had just gotten in. We have a group of tropical authors, which is how I met Nick, because he also writes tropical authors. And there's Wayne Stinnett, and there's a few other people in it. And I'd just gotten kind of inducted into that little group, and I was like the little guy on the totem pole. And I was like, okay, but I was also at a point where I was like, I think I'm going to have to get a job just to kind of even bartending or something like that to do this. And I think it was February of 2022 when suddenly I picked up a book bub. And when I picked up the book bub and I was with the tropical authors, I saw this sudden just explosion in numbers. And so it was kind of the same thing. I wasn't quite sure I was ready to quit, but I was definitely ready to supplement. And so I felt like, okay, this isn't going to work like I hoped it would. And then suddenly it did. And it was like you said, it was just a sudden rush up. And there's a lot of things that credit it. It's not just it wasn't just the book bub. I had set some certain goals that I thought I could get to, and they all collided at the same time. And so that was kind of a really cool feeling.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad you didn't give up.
Oh, well, thank you. How about yourself? Do you have an answer to that question?
Oh, gosh. You weren't supposed to turn the table on me.
I know, but it was a great question. So,
well, I think when Amazon turned off the faucet when I was doing well in romance and thought, oh, we got it. I'm feeding my kids. This is great. And then the faucet got cut off.
That was when, weren't they paying, if they downloaded the book, you got paid for the book, and then they changed it to the page reads, right?
Yes. And it just changed overnight. That's when I thought, okay, this is done. This is over. But it ended up being an incredibly fortunate thing, because had that not happened, then Mary Stone would have never been born. So, it worked out.
Right. So just fortunate timing. Cool.
I think there's always being able to, and in this industry, I think you have to be able to pivot. We've talked about a lot. This year, there's been a change in the algorithm. So you've kind of got to figure out how to do things differently. We tend to be able to do that pretty quickly. So, but thank you so much for that question. That was great.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you so much.
So welcome to the show, Willow. It's so great to get you on here. So
thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy New Year.
This is our first show actually recording in the futuristic year of 2026.
Yes. Where things will maybe be better. I don't know. We'll see. I always like to level up to the next,
There's always a chance. It's going to be a great year.
Where we've got everything is new and fresh. We can hope that we're going to go forward and see great things in this 2026. So
one of the reasons I like to write romance books is because putting more happily ever afters out there and more hope and more love, I think that's a good thing. So I'm just going to focus on keep doing that and good things and leveling up business.
That's right.
I know I love to talk business with you.
That's brilliant. We balance it by killing people.
Yes.
I kill some too, graphically, with serial killers and mafia books.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But they always bang. Because if you're going to have some sad and some violence, I like to also have, then good feels.
That's fair. Yeah. Although that gives me all sorts of ideas for gangster romance, with the bang as a title.
As a tagline?
Yes. Now we got all sorts of things now. We go nuts.
Write it. It might be fun. You never know.
Hey, Nick, we could do our next collab is nothing but romance or sexy gangsters.
Doug is always coming up with these genres we should be doing collabs in.
Sexy gangsters. That'd be kind of fun. Well, let's since we're talking about books, tell us a little bit, Will, how you kind of got started writing and publishing. Kind of give us the intro to yourself.
This is my 10-year publiversary year.
Oh, congrats.
Congratulations.
My whole theme for this year is just going to be celebrating all year long, because I'm ecstatic with how much the industry has changed, how much my business has changed. When I started, though, no strategy. I knew nothing. Back 10 years ago, there weren't courses. There weren't Facebook groups. It was very quiet. There was one subreddit, but it was for erotica, not for romance books, which are actually different. I know a lot of people don't think that they are or don't realize that they are, but they're quite different. And I had just given birth to my baby girl. She was my second child. My first was a toddler. And I was binge reading romance throughout my pregnancy with her, like heavily reading. I had play dates with other moms. I'd lost a very large part of myself when I became a mom, because my background is I was salutatorian in high school. I have a double degree from the University of Delaware, a BA in neuroscience and a BS in biology. And I quit it all to be a stay-at-home mom. And I went from being like the one who's going to cure cancer, and that idea to, oh, that's Sean's wife and Jack's mom.
Yeah.
And that was what I was.
Right.
And and I was a bit lonely, and we were very broke. And I had all these romance stories in my head. And I was very stressed going on these play dates, because I'm like, do we have gas money? Can I stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee and hash browns for Jax and a sandwich for myself? And I didn't know if I could. I genuinely would have to message my husband, because health insurance and these kids and a house mortgage, it was all too much. And he took over finances. So I was like, I want to write these little stories and make a little bit of money. And that way I can contribute to the household, because my love language is acts of service. I queried for like a week.
So a week too long.
Right, I was saying a week too long. Yeah. So.
And then
just think how much time, space you could have earned in that 1 week of that 1 week could have been changed all year.
Yeah, it could have. And my husband's friend Samir said, he was an English major at the time. Now he's a lawyer, and he said, there's this thing called KDP, and you can self-publish. I Googled it, and I was like, all right, let me do that. And within 8 months, I'd learned a great deal of things. I made a lot of errors. I was all self-taught, and I made my husband's yearly salary in a single month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he quit his job to help work with me, because I said, baby, there's something here, but I can't do this during the kids' nap times. I need somebody to help with the kids. I need somebody to help with the business. There's a lot of administrative things to do. Quit your job. And he said, well, you're going to run out of stories. And spoiler, no, I have not.
Nope.
And then we had to do taxes. Yes. And I was like, okay, now we're in deep. I have an established brand. I need to fix some things and create a strategy and a business of stability, because my entire household relies on this. And, 10 years later, and I have 12 people who work for me, multiple households. Yeah. And a lot of them, it's their full-time job and their only job. So, it's quite different now than it was back then, where I thought, well, let me just write this smutty little story and see if I can make Dunkin' Donuts money.
That's right. Well, I mean, Dunkin' Donuts money is important. So that's a valuable thing.
I should be sponsored by them.
Now, you say that. I remember when I was younger, and one of the things, my daughter made this comment one time about the moment she thought we would kind of hit some level of success where we weren't struggling was when we had cereal every day in the cabinet. And I'm like, that's a low bar, honey, but okay. So
different measures of success. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Keeps you grounded. So now you've got, according to Amazon, you have 470 books out there. So that includes translations and variations and what have you, right?
It includes translations. Also, I have multiple cover options for each book.
Right. Gotcha.
So you can immediately divide that number by 4. And then I also create collections of romances. I write cliffhangers, so I'll bundle them together. I also bebop in different genres. I have only a few small towns, even though I just brought that up as an example of a bundle, but I haven't done a bundle yet because there's one more that I want to write first. But basically, it's different variations of books. I've written about 70 if you don't include short stories. Maybe 14 or 15 of those are co-written. They're all around 200 to 300 words. I usually write around 55,000 words per story. That's just my sweet spot, even if it ends up being a cliffhanger. And I often don't know if it's going to be a cliffhanger until I'm writing. And then I look at the word count and the feel and the way it's in my head, if it's like a series on TV. And then I'm like, oh, well, just so you know, Sophie, who's my VPO, this one's not going to, it's not going to be a standalone. And then I also have short stories that I've written for charities or what have you. And I have maybe maybe 30 or 40 short stories there as well.
Are you marketing the short stories, or are you just doing them for...
As a bundle, yes. And it's sold very well as a special edition bundle called All the Happily Ever Afters is what I titled it. It's gorgeous, a beautiful lavender interior, sells like hotcakes. The short stories themselves, very difficult to sell, because the audience doesn't love to spend money on a short story, but they will buy the whole set of them in a pretty book, easy as can be.
You also do a Patreon, because I follow your Patreon on the free side. I hadn't paid for your Patreon yet. I probably should, but
you do not need to.
I do follow. I've been following because I like to see a couple of people. We've got a Patreon for the podcast, but I've also started one where I'm trying to do short stories once a month as well. So I'm always intrigued by how people are doing and trying to learn how to do Patreon a little bit better. So
I love it. It's a 5-figure income for me a month. I absolutely love it. It started with more digital content, and then we created special edition versions of my book because I'm not just happy with those 400 apparently.
That's right. You want more.
I have my discrete series, which are color-coded spines, and I wanted to get a version with the edges colored as well because I thought that'd be pretty. And I was like, well, maybe some of my patron members would want to, right? So I have things like that in there as well, where they get a book a month so that they can collect the entire series in either a discrete or artist form. I love them. I love the Patreon. And then today, actually, it's funny that you brought up Patreon. I'm launching a workout Patreon for my wildflowers where, because it's started the new year. I've really been focused on my glow up and my health, been talking about it with a lot of readers. So it'll be a reader focused workout group with challenges. And then the rewards are things with my books, like be in my book. Who I kill in this one, what's the name of it? Like things like fun things so that they can also hold me accountable and I can post every day. This is what's going on. I'm able to get this in, and I'm teaming up with my trainer as well. So they have an actual personal trainer.
Oh, this is all you, Doug. It's all you. Put on that banana hammock, get on a nice tight tank top.
My son is actually son is a personal trainer. I wonder if I could talk him into doing something like that. Yeah. My fat ass out there doing some yoga with him telling me to. No, I do like to hit the gym anyway, so it probably would be good. I don't know if the Y would like me coming in with my video of me the whole time, but we'll see.
In a banana hammock.
Yeah.
It is cold here. We're not in.
Shit. Every gym you go to, half the people in there have got a freaking selfie stick. You're like, get the hell off the machine. You've been sitting there for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, my trainer has his own, and he also comes to my home to train us. It takes a lot to get me motivated, or it did, to work out, but he literally comes to my house and
makes you do it.
Making a dedicated space. Yeah. And it's easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense,
yes, doing this with the readers, he asked me, how do we elevate? And I was like, well, if I tell my readers I'm working out, and he was like, well, you can't give them my workouts. And I was like, well, what if they pay? What if they pay? Yeah. Cause I was like, this would be fun. So we're launching that today, actually.
Oh, wow. So.
He came here and we sorted some things. So Sophie I can see in my messages, it's blinking that Sophie has messaged me something. So it may be live right now.
Oh, that's going to be awesome then. That's great. So when you did start your Patreon, how long did it take you've built it up to 5 figures now. What did you start out? You said you start with digital things. I'm kind of curious because I want to learn all the things and see how I can do them differently.
I literally just looked this morning, and within the first month, I had 100 readers sign up. And then within the first year, it was 340.
Okay.
49. So it was a slow and steady progression. And it started with a $5 tier, maybe a $5, a $10, and a $17. And the 5 was you get behind the scenes. The 10 was you also get an ebook plus the behind the scenes and comic book. I'm doing my comic. I'm still doing it. It is actually going to launch in a Kickstarter form with another comic and hopefully something else if I actually do it, but I don't want to say it in case I don't do it.
Yeah. The minute you say it, everybody's like, "Oh, what's coming?" And then you got to do it. Yes,
it's locked.
Exactly, and it is really cool. And I'm behind. I fully intend to do this, and then a $17 tier with an audiobook plus a sticker package. So it was very low tiers, and then a $25 author tier, which I still have going, and we've revamped it as well. But you don't get access to the reader stuff. So a lot of readers who want to be authors have 2 emails to sign up. It's not as easy as I thought it would be for the author tier. But after maybe 2 years in, then we created the special edition monthly paperbacks. And the majority of the readers are in those tiers. so they can get a physical copy as well. And I think those start at $69 and you get everything in the $17 tier downward as well. So it's really a $45 book, which includes your shipping.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So where did you find most of your readers who signed up for Patreon came from? Was this a newsletter or from social media? How did you communicate?
I think my Wildflower Facebook group, because, Facebook used to be quite different.
Yep.
And it was more about your Facebook groups and connecting with where you could post happy birthday today and it would tell you whose birthday. I miss that feature so much. So that personal group that was very close, that kind of like a super fan, and the people who, when I would, type, "Good morning, Wildflowers," they would respond. It's those people who would then join the Patreon. So they didn't miss anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But there's also a significant group that comes from Patreon who I don't know. And I have a free tier. So I think I have 1,000 paid, roughly 1,000 paid, but 3,000 free members currently.
Gotcha.
And a lot of them come from Patreon.
Right.
It's just the conversion for them will often just be like they'll join to see the not safe for work art or get a glimpse of something that they saw, and then they'll join and immediately leave. And that seems to be a habit or a culture on Patreon. And I'm totally fine with that because I'm of the mindset of you don't need to buy anything. Come take a look around. Know what I've got.
Yeah.
If you've got to leave, you go ahead and leave, but it's there. And if you do get the money or you do have the interest or whatever later on, it exists.
If it's not for you, there's no point them sticking around, right?
Exactly.
And it does give you visibility. Like people start, the more times they see Willow Winters, they'll go, oh, maybe I need to check out a little bit more about what she's doing.
So your Facebook group is where the majority you feel came from to start with. Can I ask how big the Facebook group was at the time?
You could ask.
You might not remember.
Can we ask Sean?
I can't even tell you how many group members I have right now. Let me see. It's loading.
I'm just curious what that ratio might be, right? So,
I have 24.8 thousand members currently on my Wildflower group, but only 1,000 paid.
That's in a group.
Yeah, that's my Facebook group, 24.8 thousand.
So that's not followers just on Facebook. That's in a private group.
No, I have 300 and something thousand followers on my Facebook page.
That's a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a few. Yes. So I guess what's that? 1/10 of my followers on my page are also in my group.
I think that's about from what I've seen, that's about a kind of normal ratio.
Well, good. Yay. I love that. And then, but I don't, Facebook groups aren't necessarily what it used to be. A lot of the newer audience, they don't even like Facebook. So that conversion's a little bit different now. But I'm not sure what it was 3 years ago. I'm so sorry. I'm sure that there's a way that I could look on.
It's probably not because Facebook doesn't want you to remember that easily. No,
but it just gives us an idea. So you started with, when you said, hey, I've got this Patreon going, you've got 100 people to drop in on your Patreon.
Yes, in that first bit. And then by the end of the year, 350.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
so
at the same time, I wasn't offering books then.
Right.
And the ebook of the month were past books. So a lot of those super fans, it's like, what are they really getting in terms of value from being on the Patreon if they've already read all my books and they want paperbacks? So now there's a different angle with marketing where I am trying to reach out to newer readers and collectors of my books with these special editions and doing the collector's editions and, get the series one book at a time. That kind of a draw really brought a lot of my readers in.
So at what point did you go, you've been writing books and like you said, you wrote enough that suddenly you're making what your husband's annual salary. So at what point did you go, well, this is doing pretty well, just writing books? Did you go, I could take this to another level by doing something different like Patreon or some of your special editions?
So my reader demographic really ranges from 18 to 65. It's a huge range, right? And it's a very large audience. And Amazon keeps data, right? So my transition from this is making money, this is doing well to let's create a business was that push and pull from Amazon and not having data. I gather that data about my readers from social media, right? And Amazon, 1 month could be fantastic for an author. And then the next month you're in the pits. My accountant really refers to our career similarly to athletes, where you could have a fantastic career and then you're gone in 2 years and nobody remembers you and your career is over.
True.
That's true.
Yeah. And that's the way it can be in indie authorship, especially right now with AI and everything. So I'm happy that years ago, I was in my second year Our entire household income relied on it. We could have 6-figure incomes in a month, but when you were actually looking at profit, it was much lower. And then in terms of cash flow, all of my profit I was putting back in order to expand. So what we had on hand was minimal.
Right.
And it was not sustainable. And then Amazon would glitch out, or I would get one of those emails saying, your book is on another site. We're going to shut down your account in 5 days if you don't do what. And we would be on vacation and I would be crying. And I'm like, how do I prove this? It wasn't a career that my husband wanted me to stay in. He asked me to quit, even without him having a job, with all of our money being in Amazon, where you're not even going to get paid for 90 days. Right. He did not want me to be
stressed
in that mental
stress. Yes.
Have to publish. Obviously, I wrote a lot, right? Even though it was co-writing, and back then you didn't have to market in the same ways, right? You could be quiet writing a book for 3 weeks, get it edited in a day, publish it out, and then go, okay, I'm going to write my next one, and not even think about, well, the paperback will be here when it's here.
Right.
You know, like it was about getting these stories out as quickly as I could and having fun with it. And I was like, this is not a business. This is not stable. This is not something that my household should rely on. And at the time, I also had a friend who was on maternity leave and didn't want to go back to work, but had to after like 3 weeks or something, was crying at work and wanted something to do. And I had this direct sales website, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to create another revenue stream. Because prior to being an author, when I was that stay-at-home mom, I had an Etsy shop. And that Etsy shop, I was sewing cloth diapers, and I was doing glow-in-the-dark paint on the butts, and I was making binky folders, things that I personally
is exactly
needed.
what Nick does on the weekend too. So, I was wondering why you wanted all those diapers that I sent over to him, but
Right, yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, I'm getting older. I need to start thinking about diapers again.
Yeah. But this Etsy shop, I was doing what I needed for myself, but buying in bulk and making them myself and everything so that I could sell them and profit from what I needed. In that Etsy shop, when I was pregnant, I did have a 6-figure month, which was amazing. And it was only within a few months, but then I was pregnant again with my daughter, and, you know, my belly and the sewing machine, not a good mix, the back pain. It wasn't growable.
Right.
It wasn't something like, there was definitely a ceiling, especially if I was going to be the only one sewing. There's only so much that one person can do.
I hope Sean's taken some responsibility for putting these dents in your income.
I know.
Yeah, he had some involvement in this.
He had a lot. Yeah. No, I could not do this without my husband. I could not do this without my VPO, Sophie, who's been with me for 9 years also. Wow. But I also felt this obligation of, you know, as especially after I hired Sophie and then she had an assistant as we're growing, if income drops, I'm going to have to fire someone. And I don't want to fire my friends.
Right.
I don't want somebody to dedicate all of this energy and time and passion, and then I'm not being able to pay them. And that was heavy on me. And then it's like, well, if I have to do that, then how am I even going to be able to sustain this? It didn't make sense. It wasn't a logical career to have where you could think about the future. And one of my strengths is futuristic. So I was like, okay, thinking about my Etsy business, thinking about my sales. I have a sales background from Clinique, which might sound odd, but they're an excellent beauty brand. And they do train you on sales tactics, and they have great ideology. So I sat down and I was like, okay, how do we make this something where I get the data, I can use this data in order to expand it, but expand it in a way that doesn't threaten cash flow, and where I can grow this business, but not grow it to a point of expiration, which a lot of businesses do, where they grow so quickly and then they cannot deliver and they burst. So how do we pace this? How do we move forward? And I forget the question you even asked me, but I hope that
you're getting there. Well, basically, just like what point did you go from just I want to publish just on Amazon to you start direct sales, you start doing the Patreon,
the income fluctuation, and saying this is not something that I want. I want steady, and I want an ability to manage cash flow in a way that isn't indicative of, okay, what is this platform that's not even giving me a heads up going to change with our algorithms?
More control over your destiny, right?
Yes, I'm very controlling. So, yes.
So then do you view Amazon as like you use it, it's still out there, you're still using it, but at this point you're doing better on your own, but it's still like it's its own funnel for your, you know, you can get readers through Amazon, but then hopefully convert them over to your own shop and stuff like that.
To direct sales and to other avenues, 100%.
Are you wide or are you in KU?
I'm wide.
You're wide, okay.
I have a series with Landish who I've co-written with. I have 7 books with her, 8 books with her. 9 books with her. Oh my God. How many books do I have in the book? Yeah.
Nick and I were just talking right before you came on about how like we can't even remember what happened in our books. You know, he's got a series with 18. I got one with 15. I'm like, I don't remember what happened in book 3. So
yeah, Bibles. You have to look in your book Bibles. So I have some with her, 9 with co-published with her, plus those collections are obviously going to be on Kindle Unlimited. The rest is wide. And for my audio, I did sell a lot of rights to Audible, and they expire in the next 2 years, and the remainder is wide.
Okay.
I highly prefer wide, not just for the ability to control, but also overall with growth. The strategy currently, like in today's era, is if you do not have those thousands of dollars a day in cash flow to spend on ads to hit reach so that you can be visible on Amazon, you are not visible on Amazon. At least not in my genre in the same capacity as 10 years ago, where when you went to that top 100, 90 books were new romance books, newly published romance books within the month. And you could stick your book up there for a month. There was not a lot of competition. You didn't have to spend money on ads. If you did, it was like $200. It wasn't anything that could break the bank or need you to mortgage your house. Now you have authors who are putting, loans against their house to launch a book, and they need that book to do well, and they could spend $5,000 a day, and they might not even hit the top 100, and they've just written a book, published a book, and lost money.
Right. So.
And that is not a strategy that I'm comfortable with. And I've told my Amazon rep that as well.
Yeah,
so.
I would say I feel that way too. I understand. And it is a challenge. I think sometimes we've discussed this before, that there is that that 90-day turnaround. I just launched a book on New Year's Eve, and it's probably been my best launch ever. But all that money isn't going to show up until end of February. So I gotta, I might be doing great. I got to eat ramen until then, but it's all right.
Yeah, and it used to be the 90-day ramp, right, where you launched and you had 90 days, and you put the next one out, and you'd be able to keep bumping things up. And that ramp has really changed. It's a lot shorter now, and the difficulty of getting noticed when you launch and the strategy before launch to get ranking and stuff like that. So were you always wide, or have you ever been in KU?
The first 2 years I was Kindle Unlimited, or a year and a half. And that's when my husband wanted me to quit because of that publish, right. And he said, your mental health is not doing well. He didn't like Amazon as a publishing platform or as a boss, is what he referred to it as. He was like, this is like an abusive boss. This is not good for us. He was like, he said, you just need to quit. And I said, well, what if I go wide? And he said, what the hell? Because he didn't understand.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about? And initially, when I did move from KU to wide, I made substantially less money. But the algorithm didn't matter anymore. Right. And I was able to build blocks and building stones and gather readers and build this empire, is what I refer to it now. And
what year was this?
In 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay. How old's my daughter? Hold on. What year is it?
It's 2026 right now. So
you judge everything by COVID.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So she's
pre or post.
2016 is when she was born. No, 2015 is when she was born. 2016 is when I started. So I might have been right with 2017, 2018 is when I moved. Yeah. When I released Forget Me Not was the first year that I was wide. And that was also my first USA Today bestseller.
That was a brave time to do it too, because that's right in 2016, 2017, 2015 up to 2017 was when KU was really taking off and doing well.
Yeah, and that's how I pieced out. I was a top contemporary romance author that year. I had 4 books sit in the number 1 or number 2 spot for several days. I had 1 book that stayed in the top 100 for over a month, and that was also the year that I quit KU.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was experiencing extreme success at the cost of my mental health, while also putting all the money I was getting right back into it.
Right.
So my household and the career wasn't sustainable. So we ended up with that one big paycheck, which primarily went to taxes. And then it was like, okay, we need to really figure out what we're doing as a business. So I had all of this IP. I had all of this vast no man's land, because no one was talking about anything back then. You couldn't go onto Reddit and post anything and get all these courses. There weren't Facebook groups for authors. Well, there might have been, but I wasn't a part of them, or I didn't know about them. I wasn't invited. But yeah, the space wasn't what it is now. So I was like, okay, I'm going to play around, and I'm going to make a business of being an author. And that's how I see it now.
And so you basically focused on your IP. So you have and I know some of your, I think you call them the pretty books, which I always like that phrasing. But so you put out the same book with several different editions, and so you're able to market that IP in different ways. And I know that I do think that works really well for romance. Nick and I are both thriller writers, and I've yet to figure out how to make that work for thrillers yet, but I'm gonna figure it out somehow. So.
You absolutely can. I mean, special editions, you can look at Geneva Rose. I know that she's with a publisher, but she has a few different types of special editions. And you can also have a specific type of edition within your Patreon where you can only access it through there. A specific type, like I do subscription boxes, which is 6 figures of gross income for me a season. And there are special editions that are only within those boxes. Now, if there's anything left over, I offer it to my Patreon in a storefront that they only have. And if they really love it, then I'll also bring it to in-person signings. But there's a door to open to have access to different types of books that I offer.
I think this is the big thing is it's all connected to fandom, right? So you've got to be able to reach these people and tell them about it. And so you've got to have the following to tell them about it. Yeah. So that's the case of building it. A friend of ours, Kirsten Modulin, is the one that I've mentioned several times. She's been doing some special editions stuff, and she's a thriller writer, and she has nailed it. But she's done a fantastic job of selling her brand, and that's what she's known for, these twists in the stories. And she's got this really big following, and she's managed to get a following with a broader age demographic, which is something that, like, for Doug and I, we have a much narrower age demographic and an audience. Which
they go from 65 to 66.
That is the thing about these editions. A lot of my friends will say, well, my audience doesn't want that. My audience won't have that many. My audience. And I'm like, well, the point isn't your current audience.
You're looking for new audience. Well, and that's what my wife and I just talked about. Like, Nick and I both have an older demographic. So, but the thing is, eventually those are going to fall off They're going to die, Doug. That's what you're trying to say. They're going to die. They might go blind and can't read. I don't know. There's something. But we just have to look at the younger. I mean, I think that there is a way to find the younger crowd and get them in there. It's just finding that way to get visibility. And I think that you've got some interesting ideas on how to do that. So
I definitely got a lot of my visibility for that younger audience from TikTok. I know that for a fact. Obviously, I have data, and Instagram, and doing the trends and connecting. And a part of that connection and a part of being there was seeing, oh, what's fun about this? Now, I joined TikTok during COVID. I told all my friends about it. This is prior to #BookTalk. So this is before BookTalk existed. I was on TikTok, and they said, that's for little girls dancing. And I said, no, it's not a dance. I was like, there's an audience here. You should come join. And they're very much against it. They said they didn't have the time. And I said, you could pay a book talker, or at the time it was Bookstagrammar, right? Bookstagrammar. You could pay them to do things on Book Talk. And they're like, that I'd rather spend my money on Facebook ads. So many people are so against putting energy into something new and figuring it out. I put it into something new. I figured it out. And in the beginning, prior to the shop being on TikTok, the reach you could get was unreal. And I have over 700,000 followers on TikTok. And I know for a fact that my Patreon and Kickstarter backers often come from TikTok because they're newer. They know about these newer platforms. They're familiar with them. Whereas my Facebook audience, I had to educate them, right? They wanted it, but they were like, well, when is it going to be in your shop? And I'm like, this doesn't go. It's only here. And they're like, but you could do that for us, right? And I'm like, I love you so dearly, but it doesn't happen if you don't do it here. Like, I need you. Please just go out of your comfort zone. Whereas the TikTok audience was like, oh, are you going to do I don't even know what it's called. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, how are you doing this? And you don't know. And I'm like, this is my first time. Like, I am the older person to TikTok. Help me, elders.
And it is interesting, like you say that they're getting some of our current readers, because I've been delving into TikTok. Ashley's been doing most of my TikTok stuff, but we've been doing some lives and stuff. So we're trying to figure that little balance out to kind of create a different revenue stream for the same reason. It's mostly cash flow. You want to bring cash in now and not have to wait 2 months. But I do find like getting people from my newsletter to TikTok is like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I don't try to move audiences. I will tell them I'm doing this here. Here's a background of what happened here. Here's a funny thing that went viral here. But I don't expect them to move. I'm just grateful to have all the little pockets. I just tell them what exists and they're going to do what they're going to do. If I get somebody who doesn't even have a Patreon account to sign up, I think of that as a massive win because like you're doing work for Patreon at that point, right?
Even if you get them as a free tier, then we'll be able to go from there. So we've already kept you for a long time, but we have like 2 more questions we want to ask you. I think we could probably talk for hours with you about this.
This is flown by.
Literally, I love to talk business, and I like the sound of my own voice too. So, no.
Everybody would rather hear you talk than us talk, I assure you. So they'll be like, "Oh, she's."
You guys have the accents. They're gonna like. You have the one up on me.
Well, Nick's got that sexy European one, so I just got that Southern. Might have dated my cousin at the prom one. So
that wasn't what I was thinking. Yeah.
But so we asked this for everyone, and Nick, I just realized also I do not have my wheel with me, but so. I do. It's actually in my car. I just didn't bring it. I just now realized that. But we'll have to figure that out. So I've got to. We'll wing it. I got a way to do it. I'll make it work. So we asked this for everybody though. So what do you think is your author's superpower?
Relatability. I see my readers as myself. If I want something, I assume that they want it. I also am delusional and have no shame. So it's probably the 3 of those intertwined is just the perfect storm for me, is that if I only did my decadent editions, which are $110 books, because I personally wanted them. I saw another book and I was like, I love my book so much. I want to have that. That is insanely expensive, but I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen. And I was like, I'm just going to put it out there, throw it out there. I was delusional. I had no shame in saying like, this is what it's going to be. I really want it. Let's see if we can do this. And I've had multiple 6-figure Kickstarters with that. So I think it's also probably just a lot. Well, I guess I only have one superpower. Yeah.
You can have more than one superpower. Some people have. Superman's got more than one. So
yeah, I don't mind falling on my ass and failing in front of everyone. Like, to me, I'm just like, well, I fell down again, guys. Let's get back up. So I'm willing to do things that a lot of people, the fear of, I don't know if this is going to work or I don't know how this is going to be seen. I'm going to do it. I have no shame. I'm not afraid. Watch me fall. And then you're going to watch my pale white butt in a flash get right back up. So
figure out how to,
relentless.
It's a lot. Like anytime you do anything, if you're not getting back up after you have a tumble, if you fall off the horse, fall off, then you're never going to be able to achieve anything. So I think that's a good one.
All right, so we'll spin the wheel, Doug. I'll do the sound effect, and you ask the question.
Ashley is actually randomly picking a question for me right now. So
okay,
hold on a second.
I'll do let's spin.
Spin the wheel. Yeah, we only had this great wheel. You're sorry you're missing it. Hold on. Okay. It's a great sound effect. We just do this.
I did the last clip. You go ahead.
So
you go ahead. I did the last clip.
What is one movie that most people like that you can't stand?
Oh, gosh. A movie I can't stand? That's going to be really hard. Well, I don't know that I would say I can't stand it. I can't stand to force myself to watch it. I tried not to watch this movie because I do not watch movies if I know I'm going to cry. Marley and Me.
Oh, yeah, that's a sad one.
It's not like I can't stand it because I think it's awful. It's that I do not like to watch something where I know I'm going to cry. Yeah, and there are portions of some movies where I'm like, I'm just going to skip this one part and get back because I know what happens. I don't need to see it. I don't need to cry. So yeah, a little bit of a trip.
So you're like Phoebe on Friends when she thought Old Yeller just had a nice, happy life afterwards, right? Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. I would prefer that. 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Nick, what's yours? Do you have a movie that everyone likes that you can't stand?
Most things with Will Ferrell.
Ooh, wow.
Elf? Even Elf? Do you like Elf though?
I find him so annoying, Will Ferrell.
Oh my God,
I don't like awkward humor mostly, and he is nothing but awkward.
Also, how do you feel about you don't like Talladega Nights just because he was a race? Nick's got racing background, so
Talladega Nights was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that movie. Yeah, so. If you're not first, you're last. I like the outtakes at the very end too when they're doing the
little baby Jesus. Oh dear, little baby Jesus. Yes. Now that we've offended, we will never get Will Ferrell on now because of this. I hope you're happy. So,
I think he would. I think he would see it as a challenge. I'm just putting that one out there. I think he would come dressed up as Elf.
If Will Ferrell would like to come on the podcast, we'll get him on here for sure.
If that works, then Scarlett Johansson really annoys me. You should come on the show and talk to us.
Yeah.
All right, how about you, Doug?
Mine's easy. I cannot stand the movie Rudy.
Rudy. Wow, I haven't seen that in a million
years. I
was
about to say, I don't even remember the
It was the Notre Dame. Right, the walk-on.
Yeah, he was like this walk-on. He always wanted to be on. It's to me, it's a movie that just absolutely does nothing. It's self-grandizing. It's just, and then I met actual Rudy, and he was about one of the worst people I've ever met in my life. So,
oh my god!
So that was also a fun exchange. So I was like, I already didn't like the movie to begin with because it feels like you get to the end, he gets to go on the field, and then nothing actually happens. He like fumbles or something like that. So I'm like, okay, so you get to get your big chance, and then you still drop the ball on it. And so I was like, yeah, but.
All right. This has been brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, Willow. We'll have to have you on again because there's so much more we wanted to ask you and talk about. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. See you next time.
All right. We got to have Willow back on the show again.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, that was like, I said 3 questions. I think it was only 2 questions we actually covered with her. She covered so much of it.
I honestly didn't ever look at the questions list. Once you started chatting about it, we got onto different IP stuff on Patreon. It's like there was so much to delve into there. She's
and I could have picked her brain for hours. This could have been the longest one ever. Yeah, it was great. I think some of the stuff, like a lot of what she said, we have got to take to heart. And I know you and I have discussed this. We're both Kindle Unlimited, and we've been in it for a while. So a lot of our audience we've built is Kindle Unlimited. So what she's done really well is build audiences elsewhere and do other things. And I don't know, like I said, it was like drinking from a fire hose talking to her.
Yeah, it is. And I think, you and I have talked about this quite a bit, is when you are a KU author and you've been that way for a while, you've built everything around a KU audience, which is a certain type of audience. And making that switch, I think it's easier to go from wide into KU because there's avenues of then advertising your books to reach KU readers, specifically through Amazon ads. But the other way around is much, 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 much harder. And for you and I, the majority of our income comes from Kindle Unlimited. It is a daunting task. And the problem is our newsletter following and our social media following, the majority of those folks are Kindle Unlimited readers. It's this little circle that we were working within. So to reach out of that and start a wide audience, you've either got to be able to give yourself 12 to 24 months of greatly reduced income and just go wide and bite the bullet, or you've got to find a way of
give myself a pack of ramen once a month, and that's all I can
exactly.
Eat. So,
yeah. And we're both too old and crusty to take that kind of plunge, I think. So you've got to find a way of just chipping away at it, of building a wide audience, which might mean doing a series in wide, which I know you've experimented with, and it's tough sledding, right?
It is. I will say the one thing I tested this, and I was very pleased with what my results were, was my little subscription box thing that I try to do. And it was all digital products. I launched it on like the week of Black Friday as a Christmas gift thing so that people could gift 12 books. And I started out on Black Friday being $5, which I thought was pretty low. I still only expected to get maybe 10 to 15. And I ended up getting, I forget what it was, well over 50 to 70, somewhere in that range that we ended up getting. I was super pleased with for the first time and not really know what I was doing. It's something that now we're looking to expand differently for next year. And that is, and again, like Willow said, that is a cash flow thing, because one of the problems we find as we talked about advertising with people is if you pay for advertising today and you're selling books today, though, you're not getting paid for those books for 90 days. What is it? 90 days?
60 to 90 days.
60 to 90 days, yeah, depending on where it falls, yeah. And so you got to be able to float that already for 2 months. So if you decide to jump up to crazy ad spend and you don't have the cash flow, then you're going to have problems with that. And I see the struggle that she had talking about all the money I'm earning is going right back into the advertising and stuff like that. We've got to figure out how to create cash flow so that we're able to keep ourselves moving at the same time. So she gave me a lot to think about, and I'm really going to stammer around with it.
Yep. And with, Joe Penn, who we spoke with last year with Kickstarters and stuff like that, there's all ways of expanding that audience, but you've got to have an audience to reach to start with, to get over there, to get the ball rolling. And it's just a way, you've just got to figure out a way of chipping away at it to be effective. It's very easy to burn up a lot of time and energy on something that doesn't have a great return. So tricky.
I've never done that. Never have I done that. So.
I love you, buddy, because you do it all the time, and I just sit back and watch and go, oh, okay, that one actually worked. Let me try that.
Don't pretend like you don't do it, Mr. I've got an album out, so you do the same thing. We're always thinking about what different things we can do to bring in more readers, be more visible, find different demographics that we want to, appeal to. So
cool. All right. Thanks to Willow. Great show. That was superb. We'll have her on again sometime in the future to chat with some more. Support the show on Patreon if you feel there's some value from the show, not from us two numbnuts, but our guests, because we have great guests on the show. Then please zip on over to patreon.com/The Two Authors Podcast and sign up. There's a free tier. There's a $3 a month tier. That's all it is, $3 a month. And there's tons of extras in there. Dive in there and grab yourself some bonus stuff with all our guests. They're on video too, so you get to see the guests.
And you get to see us if that's your thing.
Well, so. I didn't mention that because I don't think that's a sales point. But
somebody might. There are weird
you never
people
know.
out there who
might
be like, I
sure
strange. Like the bald guy and that other guy right there. That's weird.
Yeah. All right. And thank you as always to Vellum. Appreciate it, Brads. Thanks for being on board with us. You guys are great. Love the Brads. So until next time, be cool to each other.
Fair winds and following seas.
You've been listening to the Two Authors Podcast with Nicholas Harvey and Douglas Pratt. Subscribe on your favorite platform for new shows coming every week.